So what I'm going to do now is really some work in plastic. Now this is the original Guyatone pick guard. I'm keen to use it. It's got Japan stamped at the bottom here. So that's obviously going to be fitted back onto the Guyatone. What I have got to do, however, is make some pickup surrounds which will mount on here and take the single coil pickups I showed you in the previous video. So I've got that to do, and then that's also going to be the basis for the pick guard for my version. After doing drawings, tracings, etc., I've started marking out on a piece of PVC pick guard material here. One of the complications for me is that I'm going to have these two slider switches mounted on the pick guard. So I've got to cut those small square holes out and get these mounted. So I think I'm going to do that first. So if I make a mistake, if I mess anything up, I haven't invested too much time doing everything else. So that's to be done. Oh, also for both of the instruments, I've got this second panel to be made up, which takes the volume and tone controls. And just to make everything a little bit more interesting, there is this blue pinstripe all the way around the pick guard. So I've got to try to replicate that on all of the pieces of plastic which I make. So that's going to be interesting too. So really, that's going to be the focus of me for the next few days, I think. Well, you would not believe how ridiculously satisfying that is. 2 rectangular holes, 4 round holes, everything lined up, all working beautifully. That is incredibly satisfying. So that, as far as I'm concerned, is the trickiest part of the pick guard completed now. So it's the holes for the pickups, then the outline, and of course the selector switch. But all of that should be pretty straightforward now. So both guitars are going to be fitted with one of these alpha rotary pickup selector switches, and again that's something from Project Guitar Parts. What I've got to do though, in order to stop it from kind of working loose after a period of time and the whole switch rotating, is make up a little kind of bracket. So that central hole, the spline goes through, and this smaller hole here, that lug goes through. So that will locate it firmly in place. So this is my test piece. I'll make up a couple of nicer ones of those, and they'll be glued to the underside of the pick guard. So in the sort of changing light, you can just about make out a line coming around here where the old control panel must have been, and it's kind of compressed the wood. So I can see a line coming around here. Around there I can see where it's all dirty and grimy, so I've just kind of gone over it in places with a 6B pencil so I don't damage it. But yeah, that gives me a good indication of what the shape of this particular control plate should look like. Right, so to enable me to get this panel cut out accurately, I've mounted the pots on this piece of clear plastic, so I know that the pots fit, and now I can work out the panel around them. So of course this is the original pick guard. These aren't the original pickups, so I've got to make a couple of surrounds which will allow me to mount these pickups onto that pick guard. That's pretty much the pick guard then for the Guyatone completed. as you can see, the surrounds have been glued on, pickups mounted, and I've got my chicken head rotary selector switch here working nicely. The only other thing that I need to do to that before I put it onto the guitar itself is I will use some of this self-adhesive copper sheeting to shield it, which should improve obviously the performance of the guitar. One of the stumbling blocks for me has been this pinstriped blue line which goes all the way around it, and when you look at all the pictures of old Guyatones on the internet, this blue line is a fairly common thread, so I wanted to put that onto my little volume and tone control panel which I'd made. I'm not sure what they originally used. It's not. I don't think it's paint, because you can't actually feel it. I think if it was paint, it would be sitting proud of the surface. So, after many hours of trial and error, and I don't mind saying wasting a few quid on paint which says it paints on anything, which actually doesn't, because it doesn't paint on the plastic that I'm using, I discovered that the best way of putting that line on was with a Sharpie. So I bought a blue Sharpie, and I've mounted it onto this block so that it obviously holds it vertical and a set distance from the edge of the panel, and that's what I used, and I'll show you how I did that now. So as you can see, that volume and tone control panel is now complete. Blue lines, holes drilled, and the copper foil on the back there, and all nicely in keeping with the original one. So that's the plastic plates for the Guyatone completed. As far as the plates for the Nava tone are concerned, I'll be leaving this protective tape on there for as long as possible. So I'm not going to kind of reveal that yet. I've yet to decide where I'm going to have the blue line on mine or not. And one of the reasons I've taken the protective coating off of this is really so that I don't mind if it gets scuffed, if it picks up a few marks, because that's going to kind of help wear it in, sort of bed it in, pick up a bit of patina, as it were. So yeah, so that's me in plastic done for a while. I'm going to get on with some woodwork, but as always, thanks for taking the time for watching the video, and yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Cheers.